Right, so apparently there used to be a man in the northeast who could tell you the time to the minute without ever wearing a watch. That's a real thing, folks. That happened, and I only know this because of the conversation you're about to hear, which I'm still slightly unpicking in my head, if I'm totally honest. I'm Katie, this is the Creative Boom podcast, and my guest this week is Jimmy Turrell, graphic artist, illustrator, and a very good talker, which always helps. We got into loads. Rave culture, Geordie accents, and yes, I do my own, but I'm allowed to because my mum's from Durham, so there, or mam, as somebody native from that part of the world will tell you. We go on about what it was like being a creative kid before phones existed, when we just had to sort of use our imagination. There's stuff in here about working in a bread factory, which was not something I expected to have in common with Jimmy at all. We talk about stolen glass that I'm not even going to try and explain because you'll just have to get there with us. And there's a story involving a grown man chasing children across a field that I kind of need someone else to hear so I can stop carrying it around on my own. It's pretty traumatising. The thread running through it all, though, is something I think a lot of you will recognise. It's this question of how you keep making things, properly making stuff with your hands, with your brain, slowly, in a moment when it doesn't really feel like it wants you to, if that makes sense. Jimmy's not preachy about it. He's just figured something out, I think. And he's quite generous about sharing where he's got to. And hey, if you were born in the 1970s, you're going to find this episode especially nostalgic and fun. But before we get into it, here's a quick word from our sponsor. This episode is sponsored by Adobe Acrobat Studio. And if you still think of Acrobat as just a PDF tool, this might change your mind. Acrobat Studio is now a fully AI-powered workspace. You can chat with your documents, pull insights from multiple files at once, collaborate with your team in shared PDF spaces, and even turn a doc straight into a branded design via Adobe Express, all in one place. Find out more at the link in the show notes. Well, this is where I tell you, dear Jimmy, that my mam is from Durham.
Oh, there you go, man. One half of my family are from Durham. So like the mining side of the family, you know.
We're all miners, yeah.
I'm from Baker, you know. I'm from
Baker Grove.
Not the Grove, because it doesn't really exist, but, you know.
Does it not?
From that area.
They all did that yesterday, you know. That's what fascinated me. I was at Northern Design Festival, Jimmy. The launch of their typeface with F37. And they were... They were all like posing for the camera and they were going to jump up, and one of them went, who must have been in their early 20s, let's all jump up and shout Biker Grove. I'm like, wow. What? Where did you... That was like when I was a teenager.
You know what? Maybe for them, that's like us watching Different Strokes or something, you know, like a vintage program in a way, you know what I mean? Probably watching it on YouTube, like is kind of, you know, like it's sort of some sort of parody watching in a way, you know, but yeah, they're not about it. It's weird.
Well, you were saying before Spruggy. Oh my God.
I know.
We all cried, didn't we, when poor, what was he called? The character? It was Anton Deck,
PJ and Duncan.
PJ and Duncan, yes.
You know what? I was at a party once in London. This guy comes up and he was like, hi there, I could hear the Geordie accent. You're a Geordie, right? Yeah. And I went, I'm a Geordie, but he says, do you know PJ and Duncan? Yeah. Also known as Anton Deck. Yeah, I was like, not personally, you know. I think you think like me, Shira, PJ and Duncan, we all live in the same street. You know what I mean, next to each other.
It's just a tiny little village where everybody knows each other.
Exactly, you know. But
it's crazy. Mad, honestly. Like when you start, I don't know if it's just a northeastern thing, but yeah, they're obsessed with family. Obsessed with family. Like
big time.
My great grandmother grew up on the same street as my great grandfather, and then their children, then ended up getting married.
This is starting to sound a little bit Alabama.
It's getting a little bit inbred, yeah. Sorry to all the people from Alabama. That's
no, sorry, all the intelligentsia of Alabama. Sorry about that.
No worse than anywhere else.
My nana and her sister married my granddad and my great uncle. So two brothers married two sisters. There's no inbreeding there. It's just like, you know,
Good God.
I don't know if you've got any sisters marrying, but yeah, it means that we've got a really close family in that sense, you know.
Yeah, well, a good-looking family.
don't know, but good looking, but we're all right. We're all right.
Who's great fun? Is it all the Durham? Is it are they called the Wayside?
No. Like once you start getting past a certain area in the northeast, you move from Geordies to Mackhams, basically.
Mackhams, right,
Durham's like they're kind of pit yackers. You call them pit yackers. They're kind of like ex mining stock. You know what I mean? But like my mum's side are all from Baker, so that's their like pure Geordies, and then the other side, south of the river, is their kind of the yakker crew. You know.
This is so adorable. You saying my mum, because that's it's just so close to me. It's what I grew up with. But they're all nuts. They're all absolute characters. Is that a thing?
It's a bit weird at the minute. Everybody's kind of like this. There's a lot of faux working class stuff coming out. The new thing is to be working class, you know what I mean? A working class designer. I fought through the ghetto to get here. But I think I think working class communities, there's a strong family bond there because you've got no else, you know what I mean? You've got to just stick together and get through it. And I think humour is a massive part of that, you know? Being able to take the piss out of each other and just have a laugh about everything is it's a coping mechanism in a way, you know. So I think that's probably where your family's getting it from as well, you know.
Probably.
Unless your family were the lords of the manor in Durham.
Well, no.
There's something going on here.
Well, no. My mum said her father was the only chap in the street who would come back from work with clean hands, carrying a briefcase and wearing a suit, because he was one of the land surveyors. He didn't go down the pit. So my mum always liked to sort of say that they were posh. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I can remember their terraced house on the main road into Durham like the back of my hand. There's a picture of me when I'm 18 months old out the back holding a hose pipe and shouting into it.
So you used to come up here when you were a kid?
Yeah. And then my nana and my grandpa and my Auntie Veronica all moved down to Stoke where my dad grew up and everybody came together. So I was really lucky. I had a super nice childhood where my grandparents were all in the same little town. It was magical.
Oh, nice, man. Wow.
Yeah, but like if I get a whiff of coal, it just takes me back to Durham.
Yeah. But Durham's posh now, man. I mean, people go on holiday to Durham, you know. It's there's a lot of Americans when they're going up to Edinburgh, they'll stop at like Durham and Newcastle, and it's like, hey man, Durham, it's so beautiful. You know,
so gorgeous.
Edinburgh, you know.
The castle on the river, it's just so delightful and
the
magical.
ye olde castle.
It's like Harry Potter.
Hogwarts, we're here.
We do have a lot of American listeners. I just want to sort of chime in.
Sorry, guys.
It's the Britishness in us. We like to take the piss. We like to have a laugh. And
I'm zipping up now.
Well, no, I love it. We were launching Northern Design Festival's Typeface yesterday and chatting to the F-37 team, and we were sort of saying, what does it mean to be Northern? And some of them aren't Northern at all. And I said, well, you'll have to pass a test or something. And one of them piped up and said, well, I can do a Northern accent. And I went, whoa, that's cultural appropriation. She was very good. We let her do it anyway because it was good fun. And obviously we were joking.
At least you didn't try and do a Geordie accent. You know what I mean?
Well, the Georgies are a completely different breed.
Of course they are.
We are going to need some subtitles for this whole thing because there'll be someone in America and they'll be thinking, what the hell is he saying?
Mate, I've got to send you this thing. There was a TV show called Castle in America, and there's a guy on it being a Geordie, but he's not English. It's the most incredible thing you've ever seen. So you imagine like a New York American pretending to be a Geordie. And it's just like Scottish, Irish, Welsh, mixed with a bit of, I don't know, Australian. And you're like, wow, this is what people think that we are, you know what I mean? It's kind of, it's a bit awkward. But
well, if I was to, I mean, we'll get on to all the kind of industry work stuff in a minute. But
we're just talking a load of nonsense at the minute. But.
Well, this is why my podcast's, a bit different.
Sure.
But if somebody wanted to learn how to speak Geordie, what would you recommend? What's the kind of telltale sign?
It's kind of weird because there's almost like 3 Geordie accents. So there's like how I speak, this is like middle Geordie. Then there's like posh Geordie, which is like Gosforth and Jesmond. So this kind of speak a bit like that, what I was doing before. Sebastian and kind of Benji. And then there's like old Newcastle, which is like, oh, you bugger, man, up and down like that, you know? That's a bit Durham, you know?
Yes.
The new Newcastle accent's a bit like that. Don't talk to me like that, like, yeah, man. That's like the Raji kind of chav version of the Geordie accent.
Oh, I just love it all. I just love that this beautiful island and all our kind
all
of
the Americans are switching off now because they're like, one Geordie accent was hard enough to listen to, not 4.
I like the whole kind of poopa scoopa.
What is
ridiculous.
That?
I'm allowed to say this because my family are from that part of the world, so I'm allowed to take the mick. I think.
But is poopa scoopa a thing? Or like for dogs to scoop the
just
poop
if you want to learn how to speak.
Oh, right, yeah.
The language of your county, darling.
Yes, of course. I would just say, like, everything's very kind of bouncy and kind of rhythmic. Everything kind of goes up, and down, and it's a very strange accent, but we'll get away with it. There's no the elocution lessons obviously didn't work for me,
Well, my mum had that. My mum
Did she really?
had those, because she was a teacher, so she had to because the children couldn't understand her. But she tells me all sorts of stories. Like she had her hen do in Durham, and back in those days, in the sort of mid-70s, they went around like Fridays evenings. I don't know if you know this, but Friday evenings were men's night.
Yeah,
and the women weren't allowed to go out, which my mum said was brilliant because it was great fun because you could still go out and you'd just get, lots of attention and it was great fun. And back then she would, I'm clearly quite happy about that. And she'd go around with a cap because she was the bride-to-be. And the tradition was you put a penny in the cap and then whichever bloke put the penny in could give the bride-to-be a kiss on the cheek.
Wow.
That's like, and I actually think it's a bit of an odd tradition, but there's something quite sweet about. Well, I don't know. It's of its time.
Very of its time.
Like a respectful thing, maybe, but maybe meant in good faith.
There's still a lot of pubs up here that have like snugs, what you call snugs. So that was where the women went to drink, and then the guys were in a separate place. It seems bonkers, but and now it's sort of looked on as a kind of remember them days sort of thing, with a kind of a bit of
the
affection
romantic
sort of thing.
But it's good
everybody's
where
segregated from each other, from sex. It's crazy.
They don't realise, do they, how good they've got it? The young ones of today, they don't realise how bad it used to be.
I don't know, man. They've got social media, so I'd rather have just the bliss of getting on a bus whenever you want when you were 7 years old and going wherever you want, and you got called in at the end of the day, sort of thing. No phones, no kind of pressure, Do
you know, that's a really interesting point because I've been thinking about this a lot lately, and I wonder if people of our generation, that was something that really helped in our success, because you are a successful creative these days, Jimmy. These days, you've been for a very long time. But, do you think that freedom, that childhood where you were allowed to take risks very early on, do you think that helped?
Yeah, I do. And I think, firstly, I had like a mum and dad, neither who were no, they weren't not into art, but they weren't creative anyway. My dad was a fireman, mum was a cleaner, and then she became she went back to college and became like a keep fit teacher, like an aerobics instructor. But they really like pushed me, because I think they realised I was only good at one thing, I was crap at everything else. So it was like the art thing was like just plough that. But that idea of complete freedom and just being able to go out and explore, and it doesn't have to be like, that's what I'm when students ask us now about like, should I be studying any specific graphic design, books or magazines or whatever. I think you just got to take it all in, man. Everything's, and that's whether that's me going down the coast to Whitley Bay and like seeing a weird smashed bit of pavement that I remember, and the weird kind of happy accident, like, I wish I had a camera then, because I could have took so many, or like just all abandoned, fairground rides and stuff like that. That all went all seeped into the membrane, and kind of that. I'm not sure if I would have had that freedom if you were stuck in a bedroom on TikTok or whatever. Not to diss anybody on that. That's their thing. But like, I think it did feed into me general aesthetic, of where I've ended up.
Well, it's a dying art, isn't it? Because everybody's addicted to short form videos now, and it's rotting people's brains, children's brains, and it's a worry. It is a big concern.
But I think that's why this is cool, though. Stuff like this. I think that's why long form podcasts work as well. It's kind of weird, isn't it? You've got that kind of dichotomy between the long form stuff and then the instantaneous kind of dopamine, of TikTok. So, but I think this is a healthy thing.
It's healthy, and but don't you think it's weird when you see things on social media, ironically, teaching you how to do the thing that we just did all the time when we were kids
man.
anyway?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, like go out and explore and live your life by like breathing and walking. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not what we're doing for you. That's
Lie in
how
the
we ended
grass
up
and
here.
look at the clouds and pick out things that you can see for hours.
But that for a lot of kids, and I understand in a lot of ways why there is pressures on kids to kind of stay in social media groups and maybe not leave the house or whatever because of the worries that are put into parents' heads. But oh man, I think it's so refreshing when you see, if you look at like the Danes, in Copenhagen and stuff like that, they let the kids, the whole thing is that if they're playing in parks and stuff, you got to let the kids fall off the monkey bars. You got to because that's how you learn. And I think this idea of helicopter parents and stuff, it is a real thing, and I think the more freedom you have as a kid, especially as a young artist, the better,
What, because we were just let loose, I mean, it's crazy to think that my mum, especially during the summer holidays, would just say, here's a backpack, there's some water, off you go, come back when it gets dark. And that would be like at 9 o'clock in the morning. And we'd go off all day on our bikes. We'd be like the Goonies.
Yeah, total Goonies. And dangerous, loads of dangerous shit, loads of things that I probably couldn't admit on this podcast.
No.
But man, just character building and, things that, I got nicked as a kid for stealing some glass from an allotment when I was about 10. And the cop I was driving around, he saying, you're going to the police station. And I was like, oh, please don't tell me mum and dad. And he just let what out, me and my mate, we're cuddling each other. And I look back at that now and it's just like, wow, the kids still get into that sort of trouble? I don't know. But
did you have jet blonde, like really blonde hair?
Yeah,
I can picture you.
Big time.
Were you quite skinny, or did you have like chubby little
Willie,
cheeks?
The comic Willie. It's a bit like the Bruins. It was like a little character. I looked a bit like that, a bit kind of a bit naughty Scandi boy, basically.
We just used to build dens and climb trees and just get up to it. But there was always like some local characters. Did you have a local character that you always had to run away from?
There was a couple of geezers. This is bad to say, but like a couple of guys on our estate who were like, maybe they were a bit too old to be knocking around with us. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
I don't know if you've seen it. One of my favourite movies of all time is a movie by Shane Meadows called A Room for Romeo Brass. And it's Paddy Considine. He plays like this guy on the estate who's knocking around with these kids because he doesn't connect with people his own age. And we had a couple of those sort of guys who were nice enough people, you know what I mean? But it was just like, I look back now when it was a bit strange,
They didn't try and do anything with you, did they?
No, not at all. There was one guy called Willie, and he always knew the time, but didn't have a watch on. So you'd say like, Willie, what's the time? 9 o'clock. And it was dead on 9. It was like, is he some sort of time savant, Really
Maybe
weird.
they were from the future.
Don't say that. Willie from the future. The DeLorean was parked around the corner.
Yeah, probably. Why not? I mean, God, we just used to use our imaginations. We used to have like a guy called Vanderman.
Oh, wow. What was he doing?
Well, he lived on these two fields. It was weird. It was like the Manchester Metropolitan campus in a town where I grew up. It's gone now. It's all a new build estate. And there were these 4 houses in the middle that I think were private. And we used to go on and just play games. We were causing no problem. But he would come out, or the woman would come out and she'd shout at her husband. And this guy would come from nowhere in this little car and he'd try and grab you.
What?
And he'd tell you
not
off.
as innocent as Willie.
Well, no, and he'd try and find out where you lived. But it's one of my fondest memories where I got trapped. I was the only girl knocking around with all these lads, and they managed to get out of the hedge and onto the other side of the path, and they were all going, come on, Katie. But he put his car in the only escape route, and I was the last one behind, and he was coming round the back of his car to get me, and I just went, ah! And they were all going, Katie, come on, there's another bit over here.
This is literally the Goonies in Manchester.
Yeah, well, in South Cheshire. Yeah, it was the Fratellis. 100%. 100%. But I managed to get out. And then, do you remember you went through that phase when you were about 9 and you thought if you ran with your hands
with your arms
that,
out, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You'd get
so
really
much faster.
fast.
Yeah.
That Like we were talking about it the other day because I've moved back out towards home.
Sprinters do it though. Usain Bolt and all that was, it's aerodynamics, isn't it?
Oh, it's just so good. And we shared that memory.
You obviously escaped.
Do you remember Randaman? And he's like, yeah, of course I do. And that time we almost lost you.
Why was he called Randaman? What was that?
I have no
It's
idea.
not Randy Man.
Might have been.
It kind of got...
He was evil. He was evil. He was just really angry, and like he wasn't even official, and he didn't have any authority as far as I knew to kick us off this field.
Yeah, he was like a pretend Porky sort of dude. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
just a Porky on the park used to chase you for just because he was bored.
Very,
basically.
very, very odd. What a memory. So I think it did.
Yeah, the kids are missing out on all of these.
They're missing out on all these kind of perverts and
Willie with the clock.
It's a safer world. What can we say?
Probably is.
But would you've crafted this independent business for yourself. Would you call yourself a graphic designer, or would you call yourself a graphic artist? Has it changed? Has it?
You know what, Kate? It's a bit of a weird one because and I don't want to sound like, hey, I don't fit into any. I'm kind of like. The weird thing is, when I was at college, I studied graphic design at Liverpool, and my best mate, who was still my best mate now, a guy called Rich Turley, who's incredible graphic designer. He's creative director of Interview magazine and stuff in New York. And we were at Liverpool together, and he basically we schmoed this job of doing the student magazine, and he basically did all the layouts and stuff, and I done the illustrations. But I was on a graphic design course. I wasn't studying illustration, and through that we won the Guardian Award to go down to the Guardian and have 2 weeks work experience there. And Rich done all these layouts and stuff, and he ended up getting hired by them. And I was stuck in the corner doing these illustrations, and people were just but because I've never switched on Photoshop, I never switched on Illustrator, any of those things at college. All of my stuff, I've always been obsessed with analog stuff, whether that's faxing or screen printing or basic collage, hand collage. So that's how I ended up becoming an illustrator, because I ended up back in this bread factory in Newcastle, and Rich then left the Guardian and went to work for Mixmag, and then he got me back. He got me down in London. I got us out of this bread factory job, and from that I became an illustrator. So editorial illustrator, doing all the illustrations for the mag. So which meant I was kind of an illustrator, but I had a graphic edge on. I stood typography and stuff, but not in the classic sense of grids and shit. I'm awful with that. Smashing things up and breaking them and putting them back together, And
it's a very kind of distinctive style that you've got. I mean, style, God,
Cheers,
that
mate.
word, it really it upsets you creatives, doesn't it, having a style?
Well, this is what I'm saying. I think I have got a style, but I'm wary of it. You know what I mean? I don't want to end up repeating myself. So this is why I try and branch out. It's kind of weird though, because I have got good at one thing. I think you've had some discussions on here whether it's best to be a jack of all trade or to nail one thing. I think I've nailed one thing, but I'm always exploring whether it's kind of subject matter, or that's kind of where I flip it a little bit. And I love collaborating with people. So, whether it's, I kind of animate, you know what I mean? But I love to work with animators. I love to work with people who can do the things that I can't. And that's the bit that,
Yeah, it's honestly, your portfolio is very impressive. But I just have to pick up on the working in a bread factory, because I did that a little bit. How long did you last? I
was there 3.5 months, and then the call came through from Richard to come to London. But I literally, my job was the BAPs, or bread rolls or whatever. There was a conveyor belt used to come to us, and I used to just have to split the doors up like that. The door and so half the time there wasn't even any door on it, so I just stood there for 13-hour shifts with this dude next to us who had been there 30 years doing the same thing, and I was like, oh my God.
Oh, bless
that
him.
wasn't a moment in my life to kind of just escape, and Richard, God bless him, he made me the man I am,
Oh, well, we're all the better for it. There's a little bakery near to here called Prime Bake, where all of the kids who, when they left school, they all sort of did a bit of a stint there, and there was an ongoing local joke. It said a lot about you, how long you lasted. Yeah. So I lasted 2.5 days.
Oh, wow. That's very, very short period.
Do you want to know how long my full stack developer software engineer husband lasted?
Go on.
2 hours.
Oh, wow. He's got He's got ambition, that lad.
He was like, fuck this shit.
Yeah, you know what, though? The weird thing is, like, the dude I was next to, who'd been there for like 30 years doing it, he was a happy man. You know, and he had like 4 kids, and you don't know the pressures and all that. People, you know what I mean? And he was like, you know, he had his headphones on, he was listening to good music. So I ain't judging. But like for me, I was just so frustrated that my best mate was working for Mixmag, you know, and it was all of this shit that I was into music wise and stuff, you know what I mean? So when he got us that gig, man, it was like next, I just put everything into it, you know.
This is why it's so important kids go to university, because that's a big discussion at the moment, isn't it? About how expensive it is and whether you need to. But it's the connections you make, isn't it? And
absolutely.
It's so. When I've interviewed a ton of people, and the thing that always stands out is there'll be someone that they knew in their network, and they've built this network, and it tends to be sort of a very similar bunch of people who've grown and done good things together, and they help each other out along the way. And it's so important. It's just whether people need to get into these days, what is it, 60, 70, 80k debt?
I was the very last year of grants, basically. Same. And I was on a full grant, you know. So
me too.
And that was a pittance, you know. I still had to like apply for like what was it, the poor grant or something like that, like where you got extra money. I blew all my money on records, basically, so I blew all
mine on skunk.
Same thing, really, you know what I mean? You put this something to the head, you know?
It does.
Yeah, and you end up eating mint sauce sandwiches for the rest of the year, you know?
Or ketchup and buttered sandwiches.
Oh, man. We used to, me and Rich Turley found a snail on the street one time and fried it up. It was dead. It just, you know.
Did you eat it?
It was beautiful. Very French, you know. Come on.
Do you know, someone said to me once, how do you get people to say these things on the podcast? I'm like, I don't know, maybe it's the cute little innocent face.
There's probably a lot of snail lovers who are going to be chasing after me now, but we were hungry, man.
Never tried snails. No way. No hell on earth am I going to have a snail. I mean, it's no different to being in France and having, you know, what the escargot. And
you know how that happened? Why the French eat frogs' legs and snails and stuff? It was the siege of Paris, basically. So
right.
They ended up getting kind of I think the Germans. It was but like not like, you know, the First World War, before that, maybe Napoleonic times, and they were trapped in Paris, and they ended up eating the zoo, the Paris Zoo. The whole zoo got ate. So, and you ended up eating sort of frogs' legs, you know, like snails and stuff like that. That's where that culinary lineage come from. I mean, I'm sure there's some French people going to disagree with this, but look into it. There's a full BBC podcast on it.
Wow.
What they used to like hang up like zebras and kangaroos and stuff in the window of the meat shops in Paris in the siege. No, geez, I thought that was nonsense as well, but I'll send you the podcast.
Is that kind of stuff that fascinates you? What happens when things, you know, when the sort of delicate veneer of order and
you know what I really love? I love finding like the origins, how most origins come from necessity in a way, especially with like I've worked quite a lot, you know, with brands and fashion brands and stuff like that, and you work out that everything kind of started off as a utilitarian, you know, It started off as a needs must thing, and then it ended up becoming, whether it's a cagoule or a parka or a t-shirt or all of these things it starts off as a very pragmatic and practical reason, and then, you know, as artists it ends up getting spun out into different stuff, you know. But that in a sense is tying back into that food thing, is like, you know, with the French, you say, what do we do now? But now you go to Michelin star restaurants and they're serving those exact things, you know, probably not kangaroo, but definitely frogs' legs and snails.
I love doing those sorts of things as well, and I'm particularly interested in fashion at the moment and learning about different styles of you know, different items, different jackets. Why is that Barber jacket in that way? You know, why are those sort of specific aviators the way that they are? You know, where do they come from? A lot of the fashions now, it sort of goes back to what was made during World War II.
Yeah, big time. If you think of all the kind of, you know, the Stone Island stuff, the CP jackets, you know, with the kind of goggles and stuff on top, it all came out, you know, like I guess, you know, like missions at night times or like fishermen's jackets and stuff like that. Barber, you know, with the waxing.
Yeah,
You know, people send stuff to get re-waxed, and it's like that's on you know that's not a trouble if you're living in like Knightsbridge, you know, the waxing thing. If you're in a field in like, you know, Cumberland or something, fair dues, but like I don't know, it's just the whole thing's fascinating.
Do you like dressing up? Do you make an effort with your appearance? I mean, you look like you do.
I like my club. I'm not like a, you know, obsessive. You know, I've got a few mates who are like, you know, that sort of the whole Stone Island thing. They have to have the new thing, and it's all kind of football kind of not yob culture, but it's a bit like, you know, it's train spotting, isn't it? At the end of the day, all of that sort of stuff. The CP brands and it's kind of weird how that's an Italian brand that's like it was British fashion and British people are obsessed with it. But when you go back and look at the origins of it, a lot of the stuff is actually based on British Army, so it's kind of like ping pong, like cultural ping pong in a way. But I don't know, like a lad on the terraces probably doesn't have a deep dive on that. But it's interesting, isn't it? Those kind of weird subcultures.
We want to belong, though, don't we? We just want to be part
tribes,
of it. Tribes. What tribe were you in your teenage years?
I was I was always a bit of a soul boy, but I got heavily into, for me sins, acid jazz. So I used to wear like caps on backwards, like brand new heavies, and you know, J.S. Peterson and Bar Rumba and all this. And then I started raving, and then that kind of got bummed to the side. You know, just was a full on house kid, and techno.
Oh God, wasn't it a good era? Yeah.
Oh my God. So when I studied in Liverpool, that was like the height of Cream. That's when Cream had like kicked off, you know, and like we used to travel across to Manchester and got to Hacienda, like the real last days of the Hacienda when it was getting dodgy, you know. The gun detectors and, you know, the metal detectors at the door.
Oh God, I remember. And the whole thing was shaking.
Incredible.
I always used to go to the boardwalk across the road. That was more my thing at the time. And then I got into house music much later on. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, God, Cream. Did you used to wear little bra tops and tiny little hot pants as well? I mean, that was my thing.
Well, that's weird that we both wore the same thing. Strange that. Exactly the same thing. No, I was too skinny for that. I was just
skinny.
A bit too skinny because back then it was like, you know, it was the muscle. You had to be muscly and stuff. You wear like tight tops and stuff. So I used to wear like rugby shirts with 10 t-shirts on underneath, you know, to make yourself bulk up a little bit.
Yeah, because we were just dancing for 10 hours, weren't we? So we all in the best shape of my life.
Eating snails, you know. Eating one snail a day and some tomato ketchup sandwiches.
Drinking like water.
That, you know? What are you telling me here, Katie?
Nothing. Nothing. Come on, if you've listened to any of the podcasts, I've revealed far too much about myself. It's a terrible thing.
Nah, it's fair dues.
Today's episode is sponsored by Adobe Acrobat Studio. And honestly, if you spend a significant chunk of your week dealing with documents, hear me out. Most of us have a complicated relationship with them. They pile up, they're scattered across platforms, and reading through a 20-page contract or client brief to find one specific thing is nobody's idea of a good time. Acrobat Studio is genuinely trying to fix that. The AI assistant means you can literally ask your documents questions, get a summary, pull out key points, interrogate a file, without having to really read every word. PDF Spaces lets you group all your relevant files together, PDFs, Word docs, web pages, so your whole team can work from the same place without the endless back and forth. And there's a direct integration with Adobe Express, so if you need to turn a document into a presentation or a social asset, you can do it without leaving the platform. It's one of those tools that quietly removes a lot of friction from your day. Head to the link in the show notes to find out more. When you work on projects, do you find that that's the most interesting bit, the actual initial research? Why am I doing this? What can I get out of this?
Yeah, man. I mean, all of my money goes back into research. You know what I mean? Like the amount of books I've got like three levels, and I had to dig around the day, and I was like, remember when I got that book for that project and never even opened the book? You know, I'm terrible for that. Like Amazon lovers, you know, or eBay and like vintage stuff.
You're not supposed to admit that you use Amazon. Gosh, not in the creative industry.
That's sometimes where the best books are, I've got to admit, man.
Well, it
sometimes where the
depends.
best deals
If
are.
you're using the second-hand aspect, then that's fine. You're helping someone out,
Yeah, that's
aren't
the
you?
one I use all the time.
Yeah,
Exactly.
of course.
Yeah, of
yes.
course.
Yes, we'll leave it there.
Listen, I get what you mean with Bezos and all that, especially at the minute, you know, that the Trump documentary that he's just done for
I've not
Melania.
seen that yet.
Oh my God.
Oof.
I've just seen the clips, but the idea that this guy who was like owns the Washington Post is now doing, you know, gimme, you know, like basically like it's just a sort of a documentary that just loves her up, you know what I mean? Or loves the Trump, the whole Trump brand up, you know. So it's kind of dark, but yeah, I'm going to stick onto the vintage part of Amazon. Definitely.
There's a really nice thing online as well called Bookshop. I think it's bookshop.org, and it like basically it brings together all the other independent book retailers so that you can search for it, and it's a nice way to support your local bookshop. But you know,
I buy loads of Oxfam and I buy loads of Abe books and more charity sort of stuff
but
as well.
Sometimes Amazon is the only place.
Sometimes if you want that book, man, it's the only place, you know.
Exactly.
So, but if there's a choice between buying from Oxfam and Amazon, you know, I'll wait a couple of extra days, you know.
Well, it's like anything, isn't it? Sometimes you'll drive to town and park up, and most of the time you walk there, you know.
Yeah.
Needs must. I guess, like, when you do something like you do in your field, do you find that, I don't know, like, forgive me if I'm like making assumptions here, but I get the feeling that you're slightly type A like me. You love the work. Mm-hmm. You've really put in the effort and the slog. Yeah. Have you managed to sort of build a life that doesn't necessarily completely revolve around work?
I've got better with it, definitely. You know, I got married a year and a half ago.
Congratulations.
And my wife was, she's a grafter as well. She works at Newcastle United. She's one of the main marketing people there.
Is that how you met her?
No. I met her online, like on a posh version of Tinder, basically.
Nice.
Like a creatives version. But she's up here as well. But she worked for Google, so she was traveling up and down the motorway, and she just didn't want to do it anymore, you know. And this position came up, so the two have got very busy occupations, but we've managed to get a good balance, I think, you know. Yeah. And when I was, you know, I think sometimes you have to do, like, you know, I'm not saying I'm still doing all-nighters and stuff anymore, but I'm glad I did them, put it that way, you know what I mean? Because it teaches you what you don't want to be, but you also, that graft has got me some of the biggest commissions I've ever had, you know what I mean, just by putting those extra hours in. So yeah. I think you don't really learn the balance until you've kind of been burnt out a little bit. Does that make sense?
Definitely. And you've also got not necessarily always, but you kind of got to go through that pain to get yourself established.
Yeah, exactly.
Build your reputation. So the projects are still coming in then? Yeah,
big time, yeah. And I've kind of, when we're going back to the idea of like not really fitting into a box in terms of being a graphic designer, in the sense that I can't really use a computer. I also kind of do, like, you know, residencies and artists, more kind of fine art based commissions and residencies. I've got one coming up in Miami. I did a residency in Tokyo a couple of years ago and went out there and just sort of created art around this place called Biotop. So it's kind of not fitting into the box, and that idea means I'm not really repeating things. The style might still be there, but like I like to just kind of broaden it out on what I'm using that style for, whether that's projections or installations or working with, like I said, fashion brands and stuff like that. And then the odd editorial's kind of not happening anymore, really. I don't know. I think it's basically, yeah, man.
Publishing.
Yeah, publishing, and I think like
it's dying, isn't it?
I don't know whether that's AI or whatever, but like actually looking, because I used to do a lot of stuff for the Geordie, and I've noticed now like just the art directors are doing their own stuff, you know, which is fair enough, you know. But I think it's
budgets, isn't it?
You know, at the end of the day,
it's all down to money.
Yeah, and like, you know, but I think maybe that was a part of my life, you know, that I actually really enjoy, but I've moved on from now, you know what I mean? I actually really enjoy, I love traveling, I love meeting new people, you know, so, yeah, but it's all different sorts of stuff coming in, so I feel blessed, you know.
Yeah, you're lucky. Because they're saying there's a rumour going around that there was a golden age of illustration.
Yeah.
And it's sort of over.
Well, the weird thing is, I think at the minute is with the AI stuff is, I had the weirdest thing that happened was the other day. One of my mates sent us a video, and it's this guy in Sao Paulo, and he's making a YouTube video, and he's talking. He's like, "But it does," and then he just goes, "Jimmy Turrell, Mid-Journey," like this, and I'm like, my name's been mentioned on this video, you know,
What's
and it was a
going
half an
on?
hour long video of him teaching how to do my work in Mid-Journey.
Oh my goodness me.
Yeah. And some of it was actually alright, to be honest with you. Some of it was crap. But I was like, oh shit. So this is why now I'm kind of, I'm really doubling down on like the exhibition stuff, showing process, showing me screen printing, the whole, you know, the whole analog aesthetic, why we physically, and this is why I love kind of meeting people and having people in the studio and collaborating with people. Because I feel as though if I don't, I mean, there must be so many good illustrators who are digital illustrators that I kind of, it must be really hard for them now. And I chose this by chance, this way of working. But in some ways, it's not future-proofing this, because I think there'll still be ways of getting around it if people really want to copy work, you know.
It's going so bonkers. Like everything is moving so fast. The tools keep getting better and better and better. And what you can do with them is just insane. I'm keeping obviously up with everything and seeing what's happening. And we run a little private community here on Creative Beam, and people bring up discussions. One chap the other day was like, okay, had my head in the sand a little bit the other day, but then somebody showed me, a client came to me and showed me, he builds 3D worlds, and the client with AI made a character inside his own 3D worlds, which was actually pretty good. Like 91% he said was almost there. And his client came to him, and God love them for going to this person, but they said, can you do something like this? And I think he said it was just like a train slamming him in the face, because he suddenly realized that his whole career was potentially derailed, and what was he going to do? So from your point of view, you're pretty much all right, because you just do it the way you do it, and have always done it, and you've become renowned for your your technique, your style.
But then I was even thinking the other day, with video generation, our artists going to be able to just kind of prompt in, show me working in the studio, screen printing, you know, the next whatever album cover, and it will literally have them screen printing it, you know, within 2 years or something like that. That's a possibility, you know.
Next 6 months, mate.
Jesus.
Yeah, like you can do a 3D version of yourself, and goodness, like I'll probably even sound behind. And by the time this comes out, I'll sound like I'm ancient, you know. You can do, and it'll just keep getting better and better. I
mean, this podcast is
not
absolute.
Real.
We don't exist, me and you.
We're not even here. Do you sometimes have sort of a daydream and think, I wonder if we're living in an actual reality, or we're living in an illusion, a kind of virtual reality, and I'm just like sort of a kind of games character, which some like people in anyway, I'm going down. Maybe I should have not touched those drugs in the 90s, but
yeah. So what you're saying is that we're kind of like, are you going religious here? Is it in terms of like, we're being controlled?
No. I left Catholicism when I was 14 years old, my love. That's all in the past.
If it is that, then I'm glad to be here. It's all right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, so you take I can't remember now. I'm going to be such a dork saying this. There's going to be someone eating their cereal right now. They're just going to go, not this question again. Red pill or the blue pill? You just carry on, would you? You just crack on.
Crack on, man. I mean, if you're enjoying life, then I can't control any of that, you know.
No.
So it's like I had a bit of a moment yesterday. I just had like the news on in the background with all this Iranian stuff happening at the minute, and I was doing some collage stuff, and I was like, why am I not? This is crap. What I'm doing. And it was because I was completely distracted by just the
sadness of
loop,
the world.
you know, the sadness, you know. And as soon as I switched it off and just put some great music on, I was back in the flow state.
Did you feel a bit guilty though? Because you're like,
I felt a little bit guilty because I should know this stuff, and I feel like, but I've got no control, and I'm not in control of Trump and who he's bombing or whatever.
No.
And as a designer, as an artist, you should be knowledgeable about the world and what's happening on current affairs and stuff like that. But not that just have stuff on constantly, I think is not healthy, you know.
Well,
Check in at 5 o'clock for half an hour, something like that.
Well, there's a lot going on. There's a lot happening, and AI and the news and the constant changes and oh God, it's just too much. And I don't think it does any harm to just look after your
honestly, as soon as I
health.
put music on, I didn't think about anything else other than what I was doing. You know what I mean? True flow state. And I think I just had some old kind of Jeff Mills, some Underground Resistance kind of like repetitive techno, you know. But
Jeff
that's what
Mills.
music gets me into the zone, you know.
A little bit of tribal techno does no one any harm.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
good man. Well, I wasn't expecting this. I'm very impressed, Jimmy. You and I are fast friends. What's next then? What you hope? Like, are you going to just keep getting your head down, keep doing your thing? You try not to worry too much. I suppose we're not in control, are we? So
no, we're not in control of any of it. I've got, like I say, I've got this. I've got a fashion project coming up, which I think is could be like the most interesting thing I've ever done, to be honest with you. But I've had to sign like an NDA and stuff about it in the last couple of days.
Damn it!
And then
I've got this big brand, big fashion brand.
It is, yeah, it is. And it's they've hopefully give us quite a lot of freedom to do what I want, you know. But we'll see.
Best.
But they're very cool people. I just met them a couple of days ago, so that's happening. And then I've got this residency coming up in Miami. Going across there for a month. And just bits and bobs that come in that kind of keep the wolves from the door, you know, that nobody ever discusses. But it's kind of you need to have those commercial jobs to allow you the freedom to do the stuff that you want, you know, whether that's self-initiated stuff or gallery work or whatever, you know. So
is the Miami stuff the self-initiated stuff?
It's a bit of teaching across there. But then that's going to be leading for me to working with this kind of master screen print technician, you know, across there. I haven't even come up with the concept of what I'm doing there yet, because it's not until October. But that's kind of it. That'll be in the works, you know. And I love just jumping around from different things, you know.
Can I come to the Miami residency?
Yeah, of course, man. Standard.
Yeah, because I might be over that part of the world around October. So
are you really?
Yeah.
Ah, cool.
I might be doing something down in Mexico.
Ah, nice. What, Creative Boom? Or just a holiday? Ah, nice.
Creative Boom, but I've always wanted to go to Miami.
Yeah, man. Same here. That was my thing. It was like just the art deco and the hotels and the streamline, everything. Kind of, it's just, I know it's a bit, I think part of it's a bit edgy, and it's a city that's kind of built on narco a little bit, you know what I mean? But it's still, it just looks like a fun place, man. You know, and it's beautiful.
Are you a fan of Bourdain?
Love Anthony Bourdain.
Yeah, so I love.
Such a shame, man.
Oh God, tragic.
I've kind of got round him being him being passed now. For a long time, I couldn't watch his show, you know, because it was such a good. And I watched the documentary, and obviously within the documentary, he passes, you know. So it's like, so I didn't watch. But every city I go to, I always have to check in with Bourdain first to see where he at, you know.
Same. I was about to say that's what you've got to do. You've got to see where he went in Miami.
And some of them are like, you know, I went to Lisbon last year, and it was like some of them are just like little street places, sandwich places, but they're always good, man. You know.
Yeah.
Some of them are like Michelin star, and then it's like the real street food places are great as well, you know. So
it's great. I love.
He's a very influential guy. That's what I'm getting back to, with like not being influenced by artists. When students ask us which graphic designers are you into, it's much more about like, you know, which chefs am I into, which, you know, who's your favorite footballer. You know what I mean? It's kind of, I don't know. It's one of the things of like, you know, people to have a meal with, you know, it'd be like Diego Maradona and like Barney Bubbles, you know what I mean? Mixing these people together and kind of just having a wild one.
We're coming on to that next. We're going to do a little Spark episode later in the week. So that'll like, you know, encourage people to stay tuned. That's brilliant. Definitely. But yeah, you're right. And do you think like, because you've worked hard, right? And you've achieved a lot, and you've built this reputation and this successful business through doing what you love. And it's really Like, so you must just be made up. But the fact that you're now at this stage, there's a lot of people have like midlife crises, don't they, at our age? And I hate that kind of whole term. I think there's a sort of opportunity for reinvention and starting again. But I feel like what you've built, you're just building on, but you're finding new ways to explore and develop it. And that's one of the beautiful things that, you know, being an artist allows you to do, I guess.
It does. And I think it's kind of weird as well. I think, you know, maybe we kind of slag off like internet culture or whatever, but I think, you know, the internet is a lot. I mean, this may even sound old, but to the way I'm talking about it, but like just in terms of like collaborating with people, you know, people that I've met online, like yourself, probably would have never met you if it hadn't been for just, you know, weird connections like with Luke Tong and stuff like that. You know, I've done quite a lot of stuff with Birmingham Design Festival. So through that, I met like Neasden Control Centre, who I've done like collabs with, done Anthony Burrell, Richard Turley, Julian House. I did stuff for Chanel with Braulio Amado, all these people whose work I really respect, and thankfully they've been into my stuff as well. So maybe that sort of stuff didn't go back in the day, you know, in the 90s, the amount of like different connects and collabs that you could do, it's opened it up, you know. And, you know, maybe the next generation of people coming through, it's even more so, you know.
Maybe so.
Kind of refreshing, you know.
It is. It's just like but it's a lovely age to be, isn't it, Jimmy? That's what I'm getting at.
I think I think growing up in the 90s was a sweet spot to be in, because it was innocent, but it was still you still had to graft and you still had to get through stuff. But it, you know, the kind of, God, this sounds so old. The internet was really being born in terms of a creative way of living, you know. So I'm glad I look at AI now and I think like it's a really weird balance that you've got to get, but I'm glad that I had some semblance of taste before AI hit, in a sense. Does that make sense? I don't know.
Yeah, no, it does. Yeah, completely. We're
because
very lucky.
Now you can just crash everything together. You know, you can say like mix Gucci with, you know, London Underground signs or something like that, and it'll just give you, you know. Well, you had to do the graft back in the day if you wanted that to happen, you know. So,
well, if you wanted a den in a field, you had to build it.
Absolutely, mate.
And steal the what did you steal again?
The glass from the allotment, you know.
Why did you take that glass?
What my best mate at the time said, "Do you fancy nicking into that allotment?" I said, "I would." So we jumped over, and this is how much into art I was. I was like, "Let's nick that glass. I'm gonna frame some movie posters up." This is when I was 11. And basically this guy just jumped over the fence and got where, just had hold me like that and just like carry on with like hovering, and there was a copper car parked outside and he just shoved up in the back of this copper car, and that's when we both started crying. Pure Goonies.
Did you ever steal anything ever again?
No, of course not.
Wow. If you saw Jimmy's face just now. Well,
I forgot. Is this not... We're not. There's no visuals on this.
I might take out a few clips for socials, but if I'm honest, I did the video stuff last season, and it was so exhausting to do it all. I thought, I can't be asked to do that again.
I get you.
Well, thank you so much for joining us this week. It's just been
really
a
cool,
real,
man.
Yeah, it's been nice, and I'll see you on Thursday for some more fun and games.
What's happening on Thursday?
Well, Jimmy, we're going to record that bit now, but to the dear listener, they will just think that we magically came back together again. Here's what I prepared earlier.
Yes, exactly.
Thanks so much.
Nice one, mate. See you later.
Well, that was good, wasn't it? Very nostalgic. I'm just going to say it. The bit I keep turning over is probably the analogue stuff, actually. Not in an everything was better back then kind of way, but, you know, Jimmy's far too smart for that, and so are you. But more in the sense of there's something you only get from making a mess with your hands and waiting to see what it becomes. There's food for thought, isn't it? We'll be back on Thursday with The Spark when we meet Jimmy again for more fun and chaos. Until then, have a brilliant week. Thanks to Adobe Acrobat Studio for sponsoring this episode. Head to the link in the show notes to find out more.